Welcome to Exploring the Illusion of Free Will. My name is George Ortega. I'm here with my co-host Enel. Enel, welcome.
How are you doing?
All right, good. Okay, this is episode number 101.
Oh my God.
It's like, yeah, it's called Free Will, Purpose, Meaning, and the Universe. And before we get into this, like, we just want to, as we always do, explain what we mean when we say free will and why nobody has it. And why this is the biggest thing ever. I mean, this like could not be more monumental to the history of the entire universe. Because I just realized, you know, like I'm reading this book called Rare Earth.
Right.
A lot of people think that like there's intelligent, complex life all over the universe, but actually I think we're very rare in the entire universe. You know, so this is huge. So like we're like the first sentient beings, perhaps in the entire universe, to finally get this riddle of humanity, of reality that like God or whatever created everything.
You call it a riddle, I think it's obvious.
Well, it is obvious.
I don't even think it's an illusion.
Well, no, it's a mistake. You're right. Let's go right to
In other words, an illusion tries to trick you.
Right.
There's nothing tricky going on here. We don't have free will. It's
well, you're right, but see,
so obvious. Where's the tricky part?
The tricky part is that God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, made us collectively, because I think all of us are like, we're not very smart. We're not very bright. Actually, it's like
I see what you mean.
The universe isn't allowed.
The universe has compelled a lot of humanity to believe in free will, so...
Yeah, we couldn't... humanity, right now, at this point, you know, before this show and all this stuff, humanity couldn't have figured this out because the universe isn't allowing us to. You know,
right.
That's, yeah.
Well, the way we found each other is through the internet, and the internet wasn't invented until, like, people didn't use it until, like, 1997 or whatever, so...
Yeah, I hear you. Okay. So, like, all right, so now let's start with what we mean when we say we have a free will. You know, basically, you want to start with that? What is it? When people say that, you know, we're free to choose whatever we want, what are they...
Free will means the ability to make a decision 100% independent of your genetics and your conditioning.
Okay, and what's
free
that?
And clear.
Right. And so, like, all right, again, like, this is basic biology. You go to junior high school.
Yeah, 100% independent of your nature and nurture, right.
Right. Our human behavior, this is basic psychology. You learned this in 7th grade. Our behavior, human behavior, is a combination of our genes and our environment, our heredity and our genetics.
No, and our conditioning. Heredity and genetics are synonyms.
Thank you.
If he had a free will, he would have had that exactly right.
Exactly, perfect point. Which means I don't blame myself for getting that wrong. That's the thing.
Heredity and conditioning.
Yes.
Or environment.
Right. So the thing is,
you said heredity and genetics. The same thing.
I know, and it's like the universe made me do that. I would never have done that if I had a free will.
Exactly.
And so, like, all right, so like that, there is no third option. Okay, there's no third option. There's just, you know, genes.
So we're making a tradition on this show to always define what free will is before we get into our discussion.
Yes.
The second thing we always do is tell the audience why it's so important. I know you think it's the world's greatest thing, but why?
I think it's the world's greatest thing. First, conceptual in terms of truth. Okay, in terms of truth, we've got this, like, we've basically, oh, wait a minute, I got notes here. We've got this, this delusion, this mistake that anything we do is up to us, that so much of what we do is up to us, is completely wrong. It couldn't be more wrong. You know, what I'm saying now, what you're thinking right now as you're watching this, everything you're going to do today, you did today, it's all a movie. I mean, reality is a movie, and so like nobody gets this. How much bigger could anything be?
I think it's the biggest thing ever because the belief in free will is a very harmful belief for society. It causes people to hate themselves and other people.
Yeah. Let's go into that a bit more before we get into this. Yes, because think about it.
Especially when a therapist like Dr. Phil or Albert Ellis, may rest in peace, or other therapists act like use your free will, like implying that you're lazy because you can't do something. That's not it at all. It's your causal history.
Exactly.
Either genetics or conditioning. You know, your neural pathways in your brain, every moment of the universe is dependent on the moment before, and every moment of their brain state is dependent on the moment before. So, you know, it's one thing leads to another, and you have no choice but to do what you're going to do next.
Exactly. And again, this is so simple.
So simple.
How does the universe prevent people from understanding this? Because that's what's happening. The universe doesn't allow people to understand
I think the universe allows people to understand it's very obvious that one moment of my life is dependent on the moment before. However, I got this religious argument that God gave me free will. So when they look at it secularly, is that a word, secularly?
Yeah.
They can see that it makes perfect sense what we're saying, but when they get into the religious thing, they go off the rails on a crazy train. You know, they just get into some crazy thing about God gave me free will, but they can understand that every moment of your life is dependent on the moment before. That's easy.
Exactly. They get
a third grader could get that. So I think it's the religious argument that screws everybody up.
I agree. All right. Well, one last point before we get into the main theme is just that, like, even that, the universe first made everybody kind of like become very religious and had the priests and rabbis say, listen, if you don't believe this, you're going to like suffer the rest of eternity. So I mean, like, when you condition people in that way, you know, it's going to be a little harder for them to understand the logic of why they don't have free will. You know, opposing the church and the temples and all that stuff. All right, let's get on with the topic. Now here's the thing. Sometimes people, atheists, humanists, naturalists, whatever, want to say that, like, that the universe isn't, let's say, intelligent, the universe doesn't have a conscience, whatever, there's no purpose, meaning, whatever, in the universe. Okay, and again, the title of this show is Free Will, Purpose, Meaning, and the Universe. And the purpose of this show is to demonstrate that because we human beings don't have a free will, every kind of meaning we have, every kind of purpose we have in our lives, both individually and collectively, is really not ours. It's actually, it belongs to the universe. What do you think about that?
Well, I think I think human beings came to Earth to pursue truth. That's the first thing. That sounds like a purpose. So free will society or no free will, they both can't be right. So one of us, if someone were here arguing for free will and we're arguing there isn't, one of us is right, and you can't have both.
Right.
So I think that this show is important because we're pursuing the truth, and because we're on Earth, the purpose of a human life is to get this right. Why not? Well, we're here already. We might as well get this right, right?
Exactly.
Even if it's like exploding your paradigm, wouldn't you rather have someone? Would you rather me tell you the truth or lie to you?
I'd rather have the truth.
So why do people prefer to be lied to about this?
Because they can't help it, because the universe made them that way. You know?
So when you say here purpose, meaning in the universe, I think the purpose of life is to get this particular topic. I mean, it's important to get other topics right, but this particular topic, we just have to get it right because it encompasses everything.
Right. Now, here's the thing. All right, that's not our only purpose, because
I think it's a human being's purpose to get this right.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more.
I mean, we're already on Earth. We might as well get this free will thing, you know.
Right. All right, so the idea is,
it's a little nutty that we have it wrong.
It's our purpose, right, to get the truth of this right, to understand this. But again,
we're willing to debate anybody, you know. We want to get to the truth.
Deepak Chopra, come on
Dr.
the show.
Phil, Albert Ellis, maybe.
Anybody. Sam Harris will show you why there's no
Sam Harris was right. We don't debate him.
Side,
He's on something.
All right.
So anyway, what I'm saying is the actual pursuit of truth is the last great noble endeavor for the human species. I mean, getting faster iPods and smartphones, is that someone's purpose? That's just faster and faster and better technology. That can't be what we're here for.
I know.
It seems that way. Getting the hottest wife, the most money. But to get the free will thing right is more important than even if you won $1 billion. Well, maybe not $1 billion, but
and ladies,
no. But even if you had $100 billion, it's still not as noble as God giving us the ability to see that free will doesn't exist. That's got to be why we were created, to get this.
Truth is important, yes. To pull this back to the theme of the show, though, it's like, it's our purpose, right? Truth is quintessentially important. You know, it's like so
what could be
important.
more important?
Right. Especially now that the world's coming to the end because of the Mayan thing. So, all right, if truth, the idea is it's not our purpose. Just like with everything, it's the universe is compelling us, is making us seek purpose as this valuable thing that everybody, you know.
But this particular topic trumps all other topics. So you might say, well, let's get to the truth of what the smallest particle is. Let's find out if Higgs boson is really smallest or a neutrino or quark. But we want to know the truth of free will because you could have a truth of, like another scientific thing. How does a galaxy explode or whatever. But this particular topic is more important than all other topics.
I hear you. All right, now there's different kinds of
You understand that, right?
Yeah.
This is the mother of all topics. And I want to know, I just want to cut you off one last time, why there isn't a debate show on CNN, even during presidential elections, about free will.
Right.
Because everyone just assumes that we have it when we don't.
Right, and again, it's the universe. Why does the universe do this to us? Why does the universe get us to do this wrong? The universe has had us do this stuff for we're going on 2 years now with this, This is like episode number 101.
Yeah, but they've been debating if free will exists for 2,000 years.
I know, so that makes it even worse. Why does the universe do this to us, make us get this stuff wrong?
I don't know why we're on a cable. This should be on CNN, debated weekly, live. Is there free will? Let's get the experts on free will, for free will, the experts who don't, and let the people call in and vote.
Yeah.
All right, I won't.
Although science isn't democratic, it's not it's not basically truth is truth regardless of how many people understand it or not. But
let's bring it to the people in mainstream.
Exactly, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing.
No, we're not. We're on a cable act. We're in a crappy little cable access show. We're in the biggest city in the world. This is White Plains, but
this show is going to be shown also in Manhattan. Let's do a commercial for Manhattan.
I know, but it's still no offense to MNN. It's still a crappy. We're not on live television, NBC at 9 o'clock on every Sunday night.
I know. It's 'cause
we should be on during the World Series and the Super Bowl debating if there's free will. That's how big it is.
We should be on as commercials for all these shows. I know. All right, but again, it's the universe. So here's the thing. Purpose can have different definitions. One is for example, if our purpose as human beings is one of our purposes is to discover truth, to really have a true version of what reality is all about. And because we as human beings and as a society don't have free will, then it's not really our purpose, okay? It's really the purpose of the universe.
Oh, right, correct.
So, but then there's another question. And this is a bit tougher, because we're basically saying that any purpose of a human being is actually the purpose of the universe because we don't have free will. But then the other question is, well, does the universe have purpose in general? And this really doesn't relate so much to the free will question per se. Maybe it does, but you know what I'm saying is in other words, is there a purpose for the universe to exist, for us, for this planet to be here, for this, universe, galaxy?
I think there is.
Okay.
To get the free will thing right. That's the purpose of the universe. What else could it be?
All right. Now, that's a perfect example.
That's how big it is.
All right,
it's not to see the Yankees win another World Series or the Jets to finally get the right quarterback. It's these minor things, or for Palestine to be a country, or the North Korea not to have the purpose is to get the free will thing right. What else could it be?
All right. Well, all right.
Everything else is minor by comparison.
You have this God. You have this being.
The universe.
Presumably, God, the universe. I use them synonymously. that has existed forever. And if you're existing forever, eternally, you're saying, all right, what do I do now, right? And remember when you were a kid playing with soldiers and stuff? You invent scenarios, all right? So the universe saying, all right, you know what I'll do? I'll create this species of beings, and I'll make them gradually intelligent. But just to make things interesting, I'll kind of confuse them a bit. I'll make them believe the world was flat for a while. Then I'll, allow them. So I think that's what's happening. I think in terms of the universe.
So we're all here for God's entertainment?
Yeah.
He wants to see the free will, no free will battle erupt?
And it's more than that, because in terms of entertainment and purpose, it's since God, the universe, is the only thing, and since everything we think, say, feel, and all is really God making us do all that, it's really just God entertaining God, or the universe entertaining itself.
Mm-hmm.
So we've just discovered, ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of the universe is entertainment. It's we're just here to
entertain the universe.
Yeah, or the universe. All right. All right. Now, why would the universe deceive us about free will? What's the purpose of that? Why? That's the big question. It's sadistic, man. It's sadistic. The universe is good for having created us, but it's just wrong for it having, made us get this wrong.
The thing is, you don't know how many years mankind will be on Earth. This might be a small fraction of... We're in 2012, but I know you think the Earth is ending in December 21st, but if we go to the year 7,200... Just think about it. On some spaceship, on some cable access network, on the USS, Enterprise spaceship, they might run shows of 2012 when, that was the dark ages when people really believed in free will. How dumb. Look, it took us to 2012, but the next 5,000 years, relative to what? So if we live to the year 100,000, we're going to be a small slither of human, just 2%, right, of time was believing in the erroneous belief of free will. So you don't really know. Right now, we look at the Stone Age, the Ice Age. So we're in the free will dark age.
All right, that's plausible.
So if the universe continues for another 100,000 years, we're going to just be at the very beginning. We don't know where
Here's another scenario.
When we're populating Mars, they might show some shows Oh, look at these guys. They actually had two guys doing a cable out. We're convincing everyone. So you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So why? It might just be a tiny smidgen of time relative to the universe.
Oh, and absolutely it is. Our entire life. And here's the thing. Okay, I happen to believe that when we die, because we're all going to die, 20, 30, however many years.
Well, Jesus didn't die.
Well.
One guy's...
All right, whatever.
I'm just kidding.
No, and
he's the only guy that probably made... I don't believe
my point is, like, it makes absolutely... I mean, it doesn't make sense for the universe God to deceive us about free will. It makes even less sense to have us on this earth...
No, but it makes sense that he deceived us for the first 2,000 years of time. I know humans were around in 10,000 BC, but I'm saying relative to the... You understand what I'm saying?
I know. Right. What I'm trying to say is that, like, all right, we're here for like 80, 100 years, right? It would just make no sense for, like, all right, that's it. You're here. You didn't exist at all for the eternity before us. You're here for 80, 100 years. And then, to me, that just doesn't make sense. I mean, because what's the point?
What does that have to do with free will?
I'm telling you, I'm going to get to that. So the idea is, like, because you provided this scenario of, like, this is going to be important 1,000 years from now. I'm thinking, like, if the Mayans were right, if the world is going to end on December 21st, or it might end next year, I mean, because, like, this is, like, the beginning of a 26,000-year cycle. So the idea is, like, all right, fine, like, the universe God wants to finally, as this kind of like climax to his whole entertaining, this play of reality, this movie, he's going to get us, he's going to make us understand that, wait a minute, we are God, we are the universe, we're no different. In other words, everything that I'm saying, it's really God saying it. Everything you're going to say as soon as I stop talking, it's God saying it. So, like,
yeah, the universe is talking to the universe.
It's
the universe
epiphany.
Creates everything, yeah.
Right, so it's the epiphany. So then, so what happens is, all right, we get this right. Okay, this huge comet comes and smashes into the planet, just everything obliterates into smithereens. We find ourselves hoisted up into bliss, complete bliss, because that's what I believe, because I know that nobody knows what's going to happen after we die, and it makes me feel better. And there's no reason not to believe that, because, like, you can't have a hell, because, like, if we don't have free will, it would be completely wrong, completely unjust for God to punish anyone. So, so naturally, we're all in bliss. So what happens is then, like, we go up...
So wait, even the most evil people on earth are in the same bliss that we're going to be at. I mean,
absolutely.
It doesn't matter because you don't have a free will, so we're all going to bliss?
Yeah. And so the idea is, like, now the question becomes, all right, fine. We get, as human beings, that nothing is up to us, right? That everything's like the universe's will. But how about the people that have already died? I mean, like, when you die, you think something that happens is, like, you get up there and all of a sudden, whoa, nothing was really up to me. Or could it be that, like, maybe they're clueless about it still up there? That doesn't seem, because, like, it could be, if they're clueless, if people have already died about clueless.
No, because if they were in heaven and bliss and they saw Hitler and Osama bin Laden, they would be like, hey, how did this guy get in?
I know, they'd
and
have
God's
parts.
be like, listen, these guys, they didn't have free will, that's why they're here. That would be his first answer.
Right, you're right. So, all right, so that's more plausible. It's more plausible that, the people who have already died, they get this. So, like, all right, so what happens is, like, then all of a sudden,
You really think people are hanging out for all of eternity in bliss?
Well, I hope so, because, like...
You leave your body on Earth, so...
Yeah, because, like, you got to understand, all right, 96% of the universe we have never seen. We know it's there. It's the dark matter, dark energy.
Oh, I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
We only know the observable universe.
Exactly, which is 4% of what's really out there. So, like...
And then, again, they say you're only using 10% of your brain.
Yeah.
So we don't know anything.
I know.
But we do know that free will doesn't exist.
Yeah. This is an epiphany. This is like the culmination of humanity's civilization to realize that we are God, that everyone's God, you're God, I'm God, everything's God, the universe, whatever, because everything we do is really a manifestation of the universal will. All right. Now again,
but let's stick to the topic. Let's talk about why there's no free will. We don't care. I don't care what happens
after
I die.
Purpose and meaning.
The purpose of the universe is to get the free will. What else could it be?
Right.
Unless the purpose is to figure out. I mean, you're saying the purpose is to find out what happens after we die. That would be a great purpose. How would we do that? I mean,
well,
invent technology where someone dies instead of a few hours, like for a month or something. Tell us, but they may not be aware of it.
Yeah, the way that they would do that is like there's like cryogenics where they freeze a person and then they can bring them back to life, and they haven't perfected that yet. With goldfish, you can do that. With goldfish, you can freeze a goldfish for like years and then revive them. I mean, theoretically.
They can't tell you what happens after they're not even.
No, I know.
They're not even officially dead, probably.
Well, that's what well, no, because you figure if you freeze a person for a few years, you got to pretty much presume they're dead, right? I mean, because like nothing is, if you freeze a person,
like Ted Williams.
Nothing is happening. Yeah.
So the biggest thing ever you're saying is no free will, finding out what happens after you die. And then you've told me privately that if there was a pill that made everybody happy all the time.
Well, that's the key, and that's why bliss. In other words, like this isn't really the biggest thing in the world, because why would this be the biggest thing in the world otherwise? Because like this illusion of free will creates unnecessary suffering and confusion and pain and stuff. Without it, we'd all be.
I think it's the biggest thing ever.
It is. It is. You know why? Because
if everyone didn't believe in free will, it'd be a completely different species.
That's the thing. A completely different consciousness.
And I think there would be less suicide and less homicide. I really do.
Absolutely.
Because if you're depressed, you won't be depressed that you're depressed. You couldn't help it.
Right. And if somebody
when these therapists say, "Oh, you have free will," you get more depressed. Oh, what's wrong with me? How come I can't get at it? How come I can't choose good thoughts?
I know.
Because Albert Ellis said it's all what you tell yourself. Well, I can't tell myself that because I don't have the causal history to say nice things about myself yet.
Exactly, yet, until now. So now we're finally, the universe is allowing us, and it's making us. It's not just allowing us.
And I especially resent other spiritual teachers who do long sermons and just casually mention that God, they just assume that everybody knows that we got free will, because God gave you free will. They don't say it at the beginning of their sermons, usually in the middle. They just throw it in there like it's so obvious. When the whole premise is screwed up and wrong.
Yes, let's get into that. People say, well, I have free will because the Bible tells me I have free will. Let me tell you something. There is no sentence in the Bible that says that. Absolutely none. The term was coined by St. Augustine in 380 AD. Okay, that's where the concept originated. Before they just said, all right, we make a choice. Choose good. But it wasn't about freely choosing. As a matter of fact, St. Paul in Romans 7:15, he says to the Romans, what's going on here? I want to do good. It's my intention to do good, but I can't do good all the time. He got this. Mm-hmm. So don't let any priest, rabbi, cleric, whatever tell you that the Bible says you have free will, because they're either lying to you or they just don't understand. Okay.
Ask them which chapter and verse are you talking about.
Exactly.
Which
Put
book?
them to the test. Yes. Okay, let's back to the purpose.
And even if the Bible said that God gave man free will, which it doesn't, we know human beings wrote the Bible, and like Moses, whatever, and they channeled it, and they're fallible. They probably screwed it up.
Absolutely.
And then anyway, there are better books like the Newer Testament that are out that say there isn't free will. So
Absolutely.
God gave us the ability to write better books on the Bible.
Indeed. I mean, that's why, the Bible tells us we're 6,000 years old, this world. No, we're like,
I know, but they're parables, they're metaphors, you know how it is.
I know, that's what they say.
People live to 800 in the Bible.
That's what they said. Let me tell you something. About 500 years ago, if they were telling us that the world is 6,000 years old, that's what they literally believed. It's only once they were shamed by science to acknowledging and recognizing we've been here for several years that
how can the world only be, how old, 6,000?
6,000, because it's the Jewish calendar. It goes back
Yeah, but they got those cave paintings in France from 10,000 BC.
That's what I'm saying. That's
they know humans. The first painting is 10,000 BC.
Exactly. Before we knew all this stuff, the clerics and the rabbis would say, yes, it's the literal word of God. Finally, then they had to change
they've been carbon-14 dating on some of these artifacts.
I know. They didn't have that back then.
Oh, I see.
There was no way to disprove them. I know. Okay. So why do people need to cling to this belief that we have free will? Like, oh, no. People need, all right, why do people need to, believe that they have free will? Because this is about purpose. People need to feel that they have a personal purpose and meaning in their lives. A lot of people think, and I don't get this because I don't feel this way, they think that, if nothing's up to us, then what's the purpose of my life? My life has no meaning, nothing has a meaning.
You mean why get up in the morning and do anything?
Right, or just
Yeah, Anya said that to me, actually.
But, I mean, that doesn't make sense because, fine. I mean, we don't decide when to be born.
Wait a second. Assume you had the money to live such a lifestyle. You would just lie around the house with it, but you still got to eat, shower, go to the bath. You still do things with or without free will.
Yeah, well, if people...
The reason why you don't just lie around the house and do nothing with or without free will is because you need money.
Exactly.
Now, if you had $100 billion and didn't have to, then you would just do what you enjoy.
Exactly.
With or without free will. So I don't know what the point is.
I know.
You're saying people say if I don't have free will, why do anything?
People...
Because you want to survive.
Right, but what I'm saying is people, want to maintain the belief that they have free will because they're mistaken. The universe is making them believe, mistakenly, that their life would have no meaning or purpose if they all of a sudden understood that free will is impossible. And like, so not actually, from my perspective, I think it would make life more meaningful and more purposeful, because then we'd all recognize that we're all God. We're all part of God. We're manifesting God's will. I think people would prefer that as a kind of like a self-identity. Okay. So anyway, so like does all meaning?
But my life got better when I didn't believe in free will.
I know. And that's what people.
That's the meaning.
That's why this show is so important.
Less animosity, less ranking your destinies to other people, less jealousy.
I know. All right, we got like about 2
All
minutes left to go. Let's do a few commercials. All right, this show is on here in White Plains every week, channel 76, the White Plains cable access station. Okay, it's also on in several other communities, channel 45 in Fios. It's on in Scarsdale, Ardsley, where Ardsley is where, what's his name, Zuckerman was born, or actually he was born here in White Plains. He was raised in Ardsley. But it's
Facebook guy?
Yeah. This show is also shown in Manhattan like every other week or so,
Right.
And then Enel is the producer of our Manhattan live call-in show. Let's talk about that.
Every other week. Channel 56 in Manhattan.
Yeah, and that's a huge audience.
Hopefully we're going to be in high definition soon in a few months.
Absolutely, and it's a call-in show. So and you don't even have to live in Manhattan. You can live in New Zealand. Because this is a live feed.
Yeah, we got those calls at the very beginning, remember? First week.
I remember.
What happened to those people?
This is international. All right.
We got a call from Alabama once. What happened? An Ivan call? All
right, yeah, because when we first started the show, we still get calls. We were getting a bit more calls back then.
People we're getting more calls back then.
They don't call our show that much anymore because they get it. They know.
Think you're right.
They know if they say anything to defend free will, we have the answer. It's all right, what's the causality? All right, so that is all we have time for today. In the future, we're going to explore other ways of your understanding why free will is impossible and how.
And don't let your spiritual teacher casually mention that God gave man free will. Once he says that, the whole thing is tainted.
Absolutely. Don't let him get away with just saying it's in the Bible, because it's not in the Bible. And even if it were in the Bible, again, the Bible says a lot of stuff that isn't right. Okay, thanks for watching. We will catch you next time here on Exploring the Illusion of Free Will. Thanks.